This is the Real Estate People, episode 10. We got a great show lined up for you today. Berkey loves this intro.
Yep.
Don't you?
No, I do. I always try to recreate it myself, but it's just not as good.
We got a great show lined up for you guys today. We're going to be talking about taxes. It is tax season. So for all of our 1099 employees, all the other real estate agents out there, reminder to do your taxes. We're going to be talking about 2 listings that we have just put on the market this week. And also going to be talking about flipping a house, some of the details that go along with that. This is the Real Estate People, episode 10, with myself, Joel Giambra, Ryan Burke, Angela Posantidis. Let's get right into it.
Are we missing someone today?
We are missing someone
we
today.
Wow.
Yes. We're missing the boss man, Nick G. He's out in Rochester.
The Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker.
The Rain Man. He's out in Rochester doing some training, so it's just the 3 of us today. We will definitely not disappoint, though. The first thing we're going to be talking about is taxes. It is tax season, like I said. Again, for all the real estate agents listening, for all of the 1099 employees, make sure you file. Ryan, want to talk about your first year in real estate and what everyone was telling you when you first got started?
So tax time.
I'm curious, genuinely.
It's not my favorite time. It can be stressful if you're not organized. So back when I first started selling real estate, the whole year people were telling me, save your receipts, track your mileage, do this, do that, and I just didn't do it. And then I went to get my taxes done, and so the checks we get in real estate, they're not taxed. They get taxed at the end of the year or quarterly. So I had to owe money because I was used to always having a W-2 and getting money back at the end of the year. But with the 1099, you got to pay your taxes at the end of the year.
After the fact, yeah.
So I had no receipts.
And just ran into that right now. We'll continue.
I had no receipts. I had no write-offs. I just went to my new accountant's office. I never had an accountant before. He's like, all right, where are your write-offs? I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh, no.
I didn't have anything, so I got hit with a hefty tax bill. But ever since then, now I save my receipts. And I think you have to go through that until you say, oh, shit, this is why I save my receipts. This is why it's important to have write-offs. So now I save all my receipts. I'm writing off everything I can. I'm trying to find ways to write off every little thing. And that's what you got to do.
And you just got hit with the bill, huh?
Yeah, it's a doozy. So obviously I knew, I'm on a 1099 now. I'm not getting W-2s. I'm not getting a refund check, which I totally was prepared for, but I didn't know exactly what that percentage should have been that I was putting aside.
Come out of pocket.
Yeah, for sure. And I saved money. I have money that I was prepared to pay, but for some reason I had a number in mind that I thought it would be around, and it literally is double that. So the reason being is because obviously I'm single. I don't have kids. I don't have all those extra write-offs and benefits. I don't own a home, so I'm renting. I got destroyed. I got absolutely destroyed. I was in the office. You were here. Yeah. My accountant called me. He's like, listen, you're fucked. He's like,
did you have
and he knows me, but he's like, you're fucked. Yeah. I gave him all my receipts. I redid my apartment, so I bought office furniture for my home office, so I gave him the receipts for those, all my mileage. But obviously COVID happened. Nothing was open. I wasn't going out to eat as much. I wasn't taking my clients out to eat. I wasn't paying for those meals. What else? I mean, I wasn't really driving much because where was I going? We were out of work for a little bit. So he was like, you simply just don't have enough expenses. And he's like, quite frankly, even if you scrounged up a few grand more of expenses for me from somewhere, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. And I'm like, God damn.
That sucks.
Too bad you couldn't write off all those Uber Eats deliveries.
Yeah.
No, but it was it's like I said, it was double the amount that I was prepared for. So now I know for the future, there's a set amount that I need to prepare for, and I need to just put each of my checks, take a certain amount out of each of those checks and just put it aside and be ready for tax season. So for me, it sucks because now I mean, they do give you the option of paying it in increments, like you can pay it down the line in installments. But now I have to, if I do take up that option, then I'm putting
Then you
aside,
pay more.
then I pay more, and then now I have to prepare for next year.
Yeah.
So I'm putting money aside for next year. And in the meantime, like I'm trying to buy a house. Like I really want to save for a house, but then I have to worry about taxes. So it's not fun being self-employed and single and renting. I'm just gonna
I
put that out
100%
there.
agree because I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a 1099 independent contractor, so I get paid in cash every month, and it's untaxed income. So every tax season, instead of getting the refund, I have to go to the accountant, like you said, Ryan, give all my expenses, and then end up paying out of pocket for what I owe. And it's the same thing. So what I have to do every single month is put a certain amount into my savings account, knowing that it's dedicated to taxes. It's around like 18% it ends up between federal and state.
That's it.
Yeah.
I thought it was more.
Because I would assume you are too in like the lowest tax bracket. So
I'm a little.
That's a bold assumption to make of someone, Joel.
Well, I'll just come out and say it. I was 22% that I pay for
yeah.
federal.
Okay, so I'm a little bit lower than
the
you.
way to do your taxes, you're supposed to do them. That was one of my goals of 2021 is to pay them quarterly like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So you're not whacked with this giant bill at the end of the year. And you also get penalized if you don't pay quarterly because that's how you're supposed to do it. So
how does
so
that
they'll
work
give you
then?
the estimate, like your accountant
estimate.
should prepare you something and you can pay it quarterly. So
I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
This was
and
like
that's
a
how you
huge
do it
wake-up
because
call.
like nobody, well, we kind of told you what to do, but you don't know until you go through it. I feel like now
one
it's
of those
real.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now you got hit with that bill. It's like, all right.
But this
Everyone
it
talks about
changed
taxes.
my
Yeah.
plans for the entire year. Like I was prepared to pay, obviously, but now it's like way more than I anticipated. So now I have to like shift around, my plans for this year. I wanted to travel. I wanted to, like obviously, like I said, save for a house, and it drastically changes all of my future financial plans.
Yeah. And
So
then now you're also thinking about, you're aware of like what's to come next year too. So that's like, okay, so I have next year's taxes. I'm figuring it out for the past year and doing all this stuff.
So instead of limiting those vacations, now what do you got to do to be able to afford this tax bill? Sell more houses.
For
right?
sure.
That's
Yeah.
what you got to do now. Now you got the kick in the ass.
Yeah.
Now you got to make that money back. So go
Right.
sell some more houses. And that's how we counteract that,
For sure, yeah.
And that's what we're here to do is sell some houses.
Exactly. So yeah, just a reminder to all the investors that are working with us, your 1031 exchanges, what did those need to be done already before the year ended? If you were going to do a 1031?
I mean, I'm not sure the specifications of that, but
No, it depends on when when you plan to do the exchange, because you have to once you sell that initial property, then you have a certain amount of time after that to be able to buy a property.
Correct.
So but it's not like the end of the year you have to do it by
Yeah.
then. I don't think it works that way.
Gotcha. So either way, investors, 1099 employees, all the independent contractors, tax season, you got to do them at some point.
you got to do it. There's only two things in life you can't avoid. It's death and taxes. I don't think I got that from my grandfather years ago or my father.
So true.
But yeah,
Death and
because
taxes.
they will find you. I actually just got a bill from 2018 from the IRS saying I owed some more money for something that I never paid. So they'll find you.
Don't worry, they'll find you.
They'll find you.
But I think it's important to obviously COVID was tough on everybody financially, but now things are kind of starting to get back to normal for some people, getting back to work's picking up and everything like that. But then tax season comes and you're like, oh my God, now we have to pay
And
the repercussions of 2020.
Everyone
because
that got the unemployment, they're all getting, that was all untaxed income as well. So
I don't, you can choose.
Well, you
opt
could have
to tax it,
chose.
but you still need a 1099-G from unemployment. Did you give that to your accountant?
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. So fun time of the year.
Yeah, definitely get a good accountant that can help you out and find things to write off for you and take that burden off a little bit, because I know my accountant did the best that he could. He's like, listen, I'm doing everything I can here, but you simply just don't have enough expenses to write off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
So let's move into talking a little bit to investors, talking about flipping houses. There's a few things that are really important when it comes to flipping houses. The first thing is you have to make sure you get this house at a discount. So when you're going to buy the house, make sure you look at the range of what things sell for, the low and the high, and you have to get it below the low number. Then the other thing is when you're doing the renovations, make sure you're staying within that high market number, unless you are very sure that you're able to break a record and, put something on the market and sell it for over what anything else in the market has. So I was just wondering if you guys, as agents, have experience working with any clients that are flipping. And
So right now I'm telling my clients who are looking to flip properties, it's okay to spend a little more on properties because things are selling for so much
The
more these
return will
days.
make up for it a
So
little bit.
it's okay. Usually you want to spend, someone will spend 60 on a flip. It's okay to maybe spend 70 now, 75, because the returns they're gonna be there. And we're seeing that with this market. So it's okay to spend a little more these days. But the deals, you're not gonna find deals because everybody and their brother wants to flip a house.
right.
Everybody's watching HGTV, whatever, YouTube, which is
Exactly.
awesome. So it's competitive. That market is saturated. So
Yeah, so I mean, you just got to make sure, try and buy it at the low for the neighborhood. Yeah, it's hard to
Obvious,
get a
yeah.
discount, because there are so many buyers out there. But you got to get it on the low and do the work to it and make sure it's within that high market range. Because I don't know, I mean, things are selling for way more, and there is so much value in a completely renovated house, a
And
house
it's the
that someone could
quality-
just move into.
it's the quality
Yeah.
of craftsmanship that goes into these flips too, because we're in a lot of houses every day, and you can tell when you walk into a bad flip, and you can tell when you walk into a good flip. Nobody wants to buy a bad flip and think that the contractor cut corners, didn't do certain things. Like, that's not a good feeling.
Yeah, and
Just because you have shiny walls and new kitchen, like, make sure that everything was done properly.
right, and like that's when you're not going to be able to break that neighborhood
Yeah.
record, and you're going to get screwed and probably end up losing money just because of
Then you go through a home inspection, and then chances are that you're going to get beat up after home inspection.
Right.
So you want to buy something that was flipped the right way, and if you're flipping, do it the right way. Spend the extra dollars, take the extra time, put out a better product, and
It
get a
will
better
pay off.
price. Yeah. So
I am finding that like some of my investor clients, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty and like put the work in if it needs it, but they're kind of like more so looking for things that are like done and rented already that they could just get their hands on. Like they're willing to pay the extra money for something that like doesn't need as much work because obviously like
so they're looking
materials
to buy and hold.
it's scarce. Like it's hard to find what you need to be able to get the flip done in a good time frame. So I think people are kind of scrambling
with
right now.
contractors and all that stuff
Contractors
too,
like
material.
they're booked weeks out, months out, some of them. So it's tough to get those resources that you need in order to make the flip happen and like do it in a timely fashion and get it on the market ASAP,
Because time is key when it comes to flips. Like, you don't
Right.
want to hold the property for months on end. You're paying taxes, you're paying utilities, and it's cutting into your bottom line. So
Yeah.
Angela, a lot of your clients are looking to buy and hold and look
Yeah.
for that cash flow from rents.
Yeah, most of them are.
Yeah.
And when you're looking to buy and hold it, I think it's okay to spend a little bit more to get a better product, because nobody wants to get a phone call in the middle of the night, hot water tank busted, or whatever the case may be. Like, you don't want to be at this place spending your time, your money, spend
Right.
a little more,
For
get a better
sure.
product.
And a lot of them, some of them don't live here. They live, they live out of town. And
But I feel like those are the ones that don't care about the condition, the ones that live like, you know what I mean?
not mine.
A lot of mine that like,
really?
yeah,
That's sad.
they want to buy cheap.
Eh.
But they have big
Interesting.
teams to
People that take
get stuff fixed. So
yeah.
it's not a big issue.
That's good.
They got boots on the ground in Buffalo.
It's good. And there's, as we always say, there's a buyer for every single type of house.
Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of different houses that work for every single different investment strategy. There's ways to make money on all of them. So it's all about just exploring the numbers, seeing what works, and making sure you're staying within your profit margins.
For sure.
And then we have 2 new listings this week going up.
Yeah, we got a 3-3 double on the west side on Parkdale. Nice little house, fully rented, great tenants. They pay their rent.
So an
Cool.
investment property.
Investment property. Or it could be an owner occupied. Be a good opportunity for somebody to live in one of the units and collect the rent, help pay the mortgage
Are they month to month?
month to month. They've both been there for over 3 years.
Do they want to stay, both of them?
One set of tenants, when I asked them, they were kind of on the fence. So they were kind of deciding what to do to stay or go.
So here's the, I don't want to say issue, but the kind of tricky part of this is, so I have clients that are looking to owner occupy. They want to occupy one of the units. Now, if they come across a property that's fully rented and those tenants are on a lease, or even if they're on month to month, eviction courts are closed. So technically they can stay. They don't have to leave. So you have to hope that, one of those tenants are willing to move out or have plans to move out, because otherwise, you close on the house and you can't live in it. And sometimes the loan is dependent on them living in the property. So they only have a certain time frame to be able to get in there.
And
so
some people won't close on the house until one of those units is vacant. And that can be a pretty big contingency to fulfill as a seller.
Sure.
So when we see an offer come along stating, I want the whole house vacant, one unit vacant, that's another little trinket of that offer that you have to really dissect and see if you can make work. And
are you finding that vacant properties are like more valuable?
They're selling quicker. They're selling for more money because the ease of getting into the properties. And you can put your own tenants in. You don't know if these people have been paying rent during COVID. So that's a big unknown too.
And if they're underpaying, like you can only raise the rent so much. Correct. So if it's vacant, that's like a win, because then you can get someone to pay top dollar.
Yeah, you set the bar.
Yeah.
So this one has tenants. They're month to month though, so they could easily.
But they're not paying like bad rent. They're paying $900 each, which is a little below market value for the area and the size of the unit. But it's still a decent rent. You know.
Yeah.
So, room to get it up, and then how about, is there room to get some equity in the house through like improvements and things?
For sure. So it's a solid house. We got it listed at $199. It needs a little TLC. You're gonna redo the floors, maybe the kitchens, but there's a lot of value in that neighborhood. A lot of room to add value to this property.
So now if someone buys it, say, so you want $200 for it. Say someone buys it for, I don't know, $220, and
I like it.
That'd be.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, that's on the low end.
Is this a $220 cash no inspection offer?
Listen, so
or is hypothetically
they hold on to it for a few years. They make updates. What do you think the resale value of that property is?
I mean, over $250 for sure. Like, it's a nice place, good location, good part of the west side. You're near Elmwood Avenue.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I have clients that are going to the open house this weekend. So
over the years,
Yeah.
So definitely should be some good competition on this one. What else? We got another one coming as
we got a single on Gallatin in Riverside. Nice little updated.
You love that Riverside neighborhood too.
It's hot, and the houses sell to. I'm getting all FHA buyers, which is great for the community. I'm getting NACA loans, so you can really tell like how people are really trying to own a house these days. You know, so they don't have a ton of money to put down, which is fine. But you can see how many of these people want to be homeowners.
American dream.
Yeah. And that's a huge like turning point in a neighborhood when you go from a lot of renters to a lot of owner occupieds. We see it. We've talked about it a bunch, and you're seeing that right now in Black Rock. And it would be a great time. If someone wanted to flip, like that's a great neighborhood to do it, because you got a bunch of people looking for move-in ready houses, and they have the loans to do so with the FHA mortgage as long as everything's done correctly. So. Black Rock might be a great neighborhood to pick something up, do some renovations, and get it back on the market.
I like it. I like the area.
And sorry, go ahead. What's the house a little bit? Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so it's a 3-bed, 2 full bathroom, completely renovated, new floors, new carpet, new kitchen. It's a cute little house. It's on a corner lot. Doesn't have a driveway, but there's a little like area where you can tell tenants over the years have been parking like behind the house. So
that's such a plus that there's more owner occupied houses too. Like when I'm showing houses to my buyers, like that is like ease of mind, because they're taking care of their properties. They're watching the neighborhood. They're making sure there's no riffraff going on. Like they keep a spot because it's meaningful to them, Yeah.
If you're showing a house,
I want to stay on that for a little bit of like the owner occupied versus renter. And it's not that there's anything wrong with like renting a house. It's just that there's a level of care that comes with owning it. Like you pay the taxes on it. You have to do all the renovations when something goes wrong.
No quick turnover. It's not like there's new tenants moving in every year. And
you don't know who you're going to
everybody knows everybody on the street. Like there are people that probably have plans to live there for the rest of their lives.
Right. And then that's
sense of community almost.
For sure. And that's when like the real estate, the cost of the real estate starts to go up too, just because things get that renovation, things get the curb appeal. And really, it's like what we say, when the tides rise, all the boats float. And that's a huge thing in that little community if things start to trend that way.
For sure.
Yeah, if you're showing a house and, to your right is a well-kept home, to your left is like this rundown house, you can tell that a lot of traffic's going through it. Like, that affects like how much you love that house. You
Extra
just
mattresses
For sure.
sitting in
Yeah.
the
It
back
affects
of
the
house.
value of all the other homes on that
100%.
street. Yeah.
like nobody wants to live next to a bad neighbor. Like,
No.
nobody.
Period.
Yeah. That's why they say
Period.
fences make great neighbors.
Fences make great neighbors.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one. Is
Really?
that
I got one of my good friends does fences, so if you would have any fence you need your fence built or repaired, give me a shout and I'll put you in touch.
I'm sure you got a guy for everything.
Yeah.
Berkey's got a guy? This is the Real Estate People Podcast, episode 10. So glad that you guys stuck around and listened. Thank you for listening. We're so appreciative of that. If you could take the time and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, drop a comment, we'd really appreciate it.
Can I just say, last week, or what? Not last week, 2 weeks ago, when we did our last podcast, I watched it on YouTube on my TV. It was sick. It was
Really?
like I was sitting on my couch just like watching us. I'm like, I wonder if other people are doing this. Like, this is so cool. And it's like good conversation too.
Yeah.
Be a friend, tell a friend. Let's get some more people watching the show.
Yeah.
We'd really love it. We'd really appreciate it. We're trying to grow this thing. And yeah,
Subscribe,
subscribe,
follow,
Swipe up.
like,
swipe up.
comment, share.
Like for like.
All right. This is the Real Estate People Podcast. Muchos gracias.
Adios.
Toodles.